Coming live from the Tivoli Met Radio studio here on Auraria campus, this is All Sports with Gerardo. Thank you for listening to All Sports through Met Radio on mymetmedia.com, live every Thursday from 3:30 to 5 p.m. This is your host Gerardo, and all I talk is sports. On the show today, I'm going to talk about NFL football, Major League Baseball, NBA basketball, and soccer. So before I start the show, I hope you all had a great week. To start off with Major League Baseball, the 2019 Major League Baseball All-Star festivities is at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. The All-Star Futures game is on Sunday, July 7. The Home Run Derby is on Monday, July 8th. And the All-Star game is on Tuesday, July 9th. Nolan Arenado, Charlie Blackmon, Trevor Story, and David Dahl are going to the All-Star game, and they were also named All-Stars. Nolan Arenado will be starting at third base for the National League. So here are the starters and the rosters for the American and National League for the 2019 All-Star Game. To start off, here are the starting pitchers for the All-Star Game. Justin Verlander will start for the American League, and Hyun-Jin Ryu will start for the National League. Justin Verlander is from the Astros, and Hyun-Jin Ryu is from the Dodgers. So here are the starting lineups for the 2019 All-Star Game. So to start off for the American League, batting first, George Springer from the Astros, starting in right field. Batting second, DJ LeMahieu from the Yankees, starting at second base. Batting third, Mike Trout from the Angels, starting at center field. Batting fourth, Carlos Santana from the Indians, starting at first base. Batting fifth, JD Martinez from the Red Sox. He will be the designated hitter. Batting sixth, Alex Bregman from the Astros, starting at third base. Batting seventh, Gary Sanchez from the Yankees. He will be the catcher. Batting eighth, Michael Brantley from the Astros, starting at left field. Batting ninth, Jorge Posada, starting at shortstop. And the starting pitcher, Justin Verlander from the Astros. For the National League, batting first, Christian Yelich from the Brewers, starting at left field. Batting second, Javier Baez from the Cubs, starting at shortstop. Batting third, Freddie Freeman from the Braves, starting at first base. Batting fourth, Cody Bellinger from the Dodgers, starting at right field. Batting fifth, Nolan Arenado, starting at third base. Batting sixth, Josh Bell. He will be the designated hitter. Batting seventh, Wilson Contreras from the Cubs. He will be the catcher. Batting eighth, Ketel Marte, starting at second base. And batting ninth, Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Braves, starting at center field. And the starting pitcher for the National League will be Hyun-Jin Ryu from the Dodgers. So those are the starting lineups for the American and National League, and the starters for both the American and the National League. So the 2019 Major League Baseball All-Star Game will be at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. For the Home Run Derby, here are the 8 participants participating in the Home Run Derby. To start off, right now I'm going to list each participant and what seed they have and what player they're going to go against. The first seed, Matt Chapman from the Athletics. The second seed, Pete Alonso from the Mets. The 3rd seed, Josh Bell from the Pirates. The 4th seed, Alex Bregman from the Astros. The 5th seed, Jock Peterson from the Dodgers. The 6th seed, Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Braves. The 7th seed, Carlos Santana from the Indians. And the 8th seed, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. from the Blue Jays. So originally, Christian Yelich was supposed to participate in the Home Run Derby, but Matt Chapman had to replace Christian Yelich due to an injury that Christian Yelich suffered. So Matt Chapman will go against Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the first round. Pete Alonso will go against Carlos Santana in the first round. Josh Bell will go against Ronald Acuna Jr. in the first round. And Alex Bregman will go against Jock Peterson in the first round. So we're going to have to wait and see what player wins the Home Run Derby and what team wins the All-Star Game. But the 2019 All-Star festivities at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio should definitely be great. The Home Run Derby should definitely be a great competition. And the All-Star Game should definitely be a great game. So we're going to have to wait and see who wins the Home Run Derby and who wins the All-Star Game. On Monday, July 1st, Angels pitcher Tyler Sackett passed away at the age of 27. So right now I'm going to update you with the current Rockies schedule, and I'm going to tell you what teams they went up against and the final scores from those games from this past week. And I'm also going to tell you what teams the Rockies go against for the rest of July. So last weekend, the Rockies went against their divisional rival, the Dodgers, in a 4-game series here at Coors Field to finish off June. In the first game, the Rockies lost the game 8-12. In the second game, the Rockies won the game 13-9. In the third game, the Rockies won the game 9-3. And in the last game, the Rockies lost the game 5-10. So overall, the Rockies were able to split the series against the Dodgers and at least take 2 from them. This series here at Coors Field was definitely a lot better than how they played the previous weekend against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. After they got swept by the Dodgers and they lost all 3 games by a walk-off home run by a rookie player. This past week, the Rockies continued their homestand here at Coors Field, and they had an interleague matchup against the Astros, which was a 2-game series here at Coors Field, and the other 2 games will be played down in Houston in August. In the first game, the Rockies lost a close game 9-8, and in the second game, the Rockies lost the game 2-4. So the Astros were able to take the first 2 games of the series here at Coors Field, and the Rockies are hoping when they go against the Astros down in Houston this August that they can take the other 2 games from the Astros. But so far, the Astros have won this series, and we're going to have to wait and see what team wins the other 2 games down in Houston. This past weekend, the Rockies went on the road to go against their divisional rival, the Diamondbacks. In the first game, the Rockies got blown out and they lost the game 8-0. In the second game, the Rockies lost the game 4-2. And in the third game, the Rockies lost the game 3-5. So overall, the Rockies did lose the series and they got swept by the Diamondbacks. So now that it's finally the All-Star break, the Rockies are definitely looking forward to getting some time off, and the All-Stars are definitely looking forward to participating in the All-Star game. After the All-Star break passes, the Rockies return back to Coors Field, and this weekend they go against the Reds here at Coors Field. The following week they go against the Giants in a 4-game series. The first day they will have to make up one of the Giants games that got postponed the first time the Giants came in May. Then the Rockies will hit the road the following weekend. They'll have an interleague matchup against the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium in New York City. Then the following week, the Rockies will continue their road trip and go against the Nationals in Washington, D.C. Then to finish off the road trip, they'll go to Cincinnati and go against the Reds. And then to finish off July, the Rockies will return back to Coors Field and go against their divisional rival, the Dodgers. So after the All-Star break, the Rockies definitely want to win their division games here at Coors Field. And they definitely got a lot of road games, and they're going to want to win some of those road games too. So we're going to have to wait and see how the Rockies play after the All-Star break for the rest of July. So now that it's finally the All-Star break, the first half of the regular season is past us, and we're looking forward to the second half of the regular season. Right now I'm going to give you the current Major League Baseball standings in the American and National League. So to start off in the American League East, right now the Yankees are leading this division. In the American League Central, right now the Twins are leading this division. And in the American League West, right now the Astros are leading this division. In the National League East, right now the Braves are leading this division. In the National League Central, right now the Cubs are leading this division. And in the National League West, right now the Dodgers are leading this division. So looking at the current standings in the American and National League going into the second half of the season, in the American League East, the Yankees have a very good chance at winning this division. In the American League Central, the Twins are leading this division, but don't count out the Indians. They definitely have a chance of catching up to the Twins. In the American League West, the Astros have a great chance at winning this division. In the National League East, the Braves are leading this division, but the Nationals and the Phillies could definitely catch up towards the end of the regular season. In the National League Central, this will definitely be an interesting division. Right now, the Cubs are leading this division, but the Brewers are only half a game back, and the Cardinals are only 2 games back. So this division could definitely come down to the end of the season, and whatever team wins more games and plays better baseball, that would be the team that wins this division. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens in this division. And in the National League West, there's a very great chance that the Dodgers are going to win this division for another consecutive year. And looking at the current standings, it just looks like they're going to run away with this division, and none of the other teams in the National League West will be able to catch up to the Dodgers. So that's the current Major League Baseball standings in the American and National League. Now that the first half of the regular season's finally over. Now going into the second half of the regular season, the Major League Baseball trade deadline is at the end of July. So we're going to have to wait and see what moves these teams make. And the teams that are fighting for a playoff spot, and the teams that know they're going to be contending to get into the playoffs once the regular season is over, we're going to have to wait and see what moves they make. There's definitely going to be teams that are going to be in need of a bat, a starting pitcher, or pitchers in their bullpen. So there'll definitely be a lot of big name players that will definitely be on the trade block, and we're going to have to wait and see what teams are buyers and what teams are sellers. But it's definitely going to come down to what teams know they're going to be serious contenders to get into the playoffs this year. In the Major League Baseball Power Rankings, the current top 10 Major League Baseball teams are the Dodgers, Yankees, Braves, Twins, Astros, Rays, Cubs, Rangers, Red Sox, and Brewers. So now that the first half of the season's finally over, we're going to have to wait and see what teams play really great for the second half of the regular season. And the teams that I just listed in the top 10 are definitely teams that will be in the top 10 in the second half of the regular season. And I could see most of these teams also making it into the playoffs too. So the second half of the regular season is definitely going to be interesting, and I can't wait to see what teams make it into the playoffs and what teams make moves at the trade deadline. Moving on now to NFL football. Now that it's finally July, NFL training camp begins for all 32 teams in the middle and towards the end of July. And in August, the preseason games will begin. And believe it or not, the beginning of the football season is not that far away. In about a month, all the preseason games for all 32 teams will begin. And before you know it, September will finally be here and the regular season will begin. So I can't wait for the 2019 football season to begin. Right now I'm going to take a commercial break. When I come back, I will talk about the NBA. Welcome back to All Sports with Gerardo. Moving on now to NBA basketball. NBA free agency began on Sunday, June 30th. So right now I'm going to tell you all the moves that took place since NBA free agency began on June 30th. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving have agreed to a 4-year max contract with the Nets. Kevin Durant will change his number from 35 and he will now wear 7 with the Nets. Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers have agreed to a 4-year max contract. Paul George was traded from the Thunder to the Clippers. DeMarcus Cousins and the Lakers have agreed to a 1-year contract. Kemba Walker and the Celtics have agreed to a 4-year max contract. Al Horford and the 76ers have agreed to a 4-year max contract. Jimmy Butler is headed to the Heat in a 4-team deal that involves the Heat, 76ers, Clippers, and Trailblazers. The deal will send Hassan Whiteside to the Trailblazers, Josh Richardson to the 76ers, Marcus Harkless and a future first-round pick to the Clippers, and Myers Leonard to the Heat. The 76ers and the Heat have agreed to sign and trade Jimmy Butler to the Heat. Jimmy Butler and the Heat have agreed to a 4-year max contract. The Warriors and the Nets have agreed to sign and trade D'Angelo Russell to the Warriors. D'Angelo Russell and the Warriors have agreed to a 4-year max contract. Klay Thompson and the Warriors have agreed to a 5-year max contract extension. Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers have agreed to a 4-year max contract extension. Ben Simmons and the 76ers have agreed to a 5-year max contract extension. Tobias Harris and the 76ers have agreed to a 5-year max contract extension. Kristaps Porzingis and the Mavericks have agreed to a 5-year max contract extension. Jamal Murray and the Nuggets have agreed to a 5-year max contract extension. Chris Middleton and the Bucks have agreed to a 5-year max contract extension. Derrick Rose and the Pistons have agreed to a 2-year contract. Isaiah Thomas and the Wizards have agreed to a 1-year contract. J.J. Redick and the Pelicans have agreed to a 2-year contract. Ricky Rubio and the Suns have agreed to a 3-year contract. DeAndre Jordan and the Nets have agreed to a 4-year contract. Danny Green and the Lakers have agreed to a 2-year contract. JaVale McGee and the Lakers have agreed to a 2-year contract. Rajon Rondo and the Lakers have agreed to a 2-year contract. Julius Randle and the Knicks have agreed to a 3-year contract. Brook Lopez and the Bucks have agreed to a 4-year contract. Trevor Ariza and the Kings have agreed to a 2-year contract. Austin Rivers and the Rockets have agreed to a 2-year contract. Ernest Kantner and the Celtics have agreed to a 2-year contract. Rudy Gay and the Spurs have agreed to a 2-year contract. Harrison Barnes and the Kings have agreed to a 4-year contract. Emmanuel Mudiay and the Jazz have agreed to a 1-year contract. Avery Bradley and the Lakers have agreed to a 2-year contract. Jabari Parker and the Hawks have agreed to a 2-year contract. Seth Curry and the Mavericks have agreed to a 4-year contract. The Warriors traded Andre Iguodala to the Grizzlies. The Thunder traded Jermaine Grant to the Nuggets. So those are all the moves that have took place since free agency began on June 30th. It was a long list, but I definitely wanted to list all the big name players that have been on the move since free agency began. So here are the top stories of NBA free agency. The Thunder are now interested in trading Russell Westbrook after they traded Paul George to the Clippers. So the Thunder are looking forward to a possible rebuild and getting a younger roster and moving on from their big name players and their franchise players. A few years ago, they moved on from Kevin Durant when he tested free agency and signed with the Warriors. In the last few days, they traded Paul George to the Clippers, and now they're interested in trading another one of their franchise players. And now the Thunder are interested in trading their franchise player, Russell Westbrook. So right now the Thunder are exploring all their options with Russell Westbrook, and they're gathering potential teams that they could trade Russell Westbrook to. So we're going to have to wait and see if Russell Westbrook gets traded in the next few weeks or before the regular season begins in a couple months. So after all these moves took place and all the big name free agents have signed a new contract with a different team, this season it's definitely going to be interesting, and there's going to be a couple teams before the end of last season, they weren't even contending to get into the playoffs or have the chance to reach the NBA Finals and possibly win the NBA Finals. But now, after these big name free agents have signed with their new teams, if you look at the odds of what teams are favored to win the NBA Finals this season, it's definitely going to surprise you. And teams that were in the odds to win the NBA Finals last year, there's a few of them that are not in the odds to win the NBA Finals this season. And teams that weren't in the odds to win the NBA Finals last year, we got some new teams that have a great chance on winning the NBA Finals this year. The teams that I would definitely keep an eye out for is the two Los Angeles teams, the Lakers and the Clippers. Both of these teams made a lot of moves, and both of these teams have a great chance at winning the NBA Finals this season. Both Los Angeles teams have the highest chance of winning the NBA Finals this season. In the battle of Los Angeles in the NBA between the Lakers and the Clippers, it's going to be a great matchup every time. In this season, it's only the beginning. This season and going into the future, the Lakers versus the Clippers, it's going to be a great game every time. So I can't wait for that matchup this season. The Warriors, after losing Kevin Durant in free agency to the Nets, but they added D'Angelo Russell during free agency from the Nets. They re-signed Klay Thompson to a max contract extension. Can they make it to the NBA Finals this season? We're going to have to wait and see. Their chances are a little bit lower, but they still have a great chance at reaching the NBA Finals. The Nets, can they reach the NBA Finals this year without Kevin Durant? We're going to have to wait and see. But they'll have a great chance at reaching the NBA Finals going into the future. The Raptors, after they won the NBA Finals with Kawhi Leonard, but Kawhi Leonard decided to test free agency after winning the NBA Finals with the Raptors, their chances went down pretty low and they have a slim chance of reaching the NBA Finals and winning it back-to-back seasons. Now that they don't have Kawhi Leonard, we're going to have to wait and see if the Raptors even make it into the playoffs. That's going to be interesting now that Kawhi Leonard will not be playing for the Raptors and he's now going to be playing for the Clippers. The Celtics, can they make it back into the playoffs without Kyrie Irving? We're going to have to wait and see. Can the Lakers or the Clippers make it into the playoffs this season? Possibly reach the NBA Finals? Or win the NBA Finals? We're going to have to wait and see. Can the 76ers make it back into the playoffs and play better basketball and maybe advance further into the playoffs? We're going to have to wait and see. After the Pelicans traded Anthony Davis to the Lakers, but they also drafted Zion Williamson with the first overall pick in the 2019 NBA draft, and they got a lot of the young stars from the Lakers. Can they make it into the playoffs with this young roster this season? We're going to have to wait and see. But the Pelicans should definitely be a great team, and they should definitely make it into the playoffs going into the future. The Knicks, they missed out on all the big name free agents. And according to multiple reports, they didn't want to offer Kevin Durant a max contract. We're going to have to wait and see how the Knicks play after they made the moves that they did of acquiring different players throughout free agency, but they weren't any of the big name free agents. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Knicks play this season. Will we see Kevin Durant play for the Nets this year? We're going to have to wait and see. It's very likely that Kevin Durant will miss most of the season or the entire season with his injury. Can the Nets make it into the playoffs without Kevin Durant or possibly reach the NBA Finals? We're going to have to wait and see. But if Kevin Durant doesn't play for the Nets this season, next season and going into the future, once the Nets have Kevin Durant playing, the Nets will definitely be one of the teams in the Eastern Conference that have the highest chances of making it into the playoffs and reaching the NBA Finals. And once the Nets have Kevin Durant playing, the Nets will definitely be favored to win the NBA Finals. Will we see Klay Thompson play for the Warriors this season? We're going to have to wait and see. But Klay Thompson is expected to miss most of the season or the entire season with a leg injury. We're going to have to wait and see if Klay Thompson even plays for the Warriors this season. After the Warriors lost Kevin Durant in free agency to the Nets, will the Warriors even make it into the playoffs without Kevin Durant and possibly without Klay Thompson? We're going to have to wait and see. But the chances of the Warriors reaching the NBA Finals and winning the NBA Finals this year is definitely lower, and it's definitely slim. So those were the top stories of NBA free agency, and we're going to have to wait and see if the Thunder land up trading Russell Westbrook in the coming weeks. Right now I'm going to take a commercial break. When I come back, I will talk about soccer and the end of the show. Welcome back to All Sports with Gerardo. Moving on now to soccer. Mexico beat the U.S. 1-0 in the men's Gold Cup final. Mexico has now won their 8th men's Gold Cup. The U.S. women's national soccer team beat the Netherlands 2-0 in the FIFA Women's World Cup. The U.S. is the second team to win back-to-back FIFA Women's World Cup titles in 2015 and in 2019. This is also the 4th FIFA Women's World Cup title for the U.S. The U.S. women's national team scored 26 goals in the 2019 World Cup, which is also the most goals scored by a team during the Women's World Cup. Moving on now to end the show, what to watch for this week in sports. The 2019 Major League Baseball All-Star festivities at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. The Major League Baseball All-Star Futures Game on Sunday, July 7th. The Major League Baseball Home Run Derby on Monday, July 8th. The 2019 Major League Baseball All-Star Game on Tuesday, July 9th. Major League Baseball, the Rockies. The second half of the 2019 Major League Baseball regular season. The 2019 Major League Baseball trade deadline on July 31st. NFL training camp begins for all 32 teams in the middle and towards the end of July. Moving on now. For the next 3 weeks, there will not be a live show from the Tivoli Met Radio studio here on the Auraria campus. All Sports with Gerardo will be back live on Thursday, August 1st. Make sure to tune in to All Sports with Gerardo in August to see the new content that will be posted on my social media pages at All Sports with Gerardo. Moving on now, on the next show, I will talk about NFL football, Major League Baseball, and NBA basketball. I hope you all have a great weekend and a great July. Tune in to the next All Sports with Gerardo show on Thursday, August 1st from 3:30 to 5 p.m. I want to say thank you to everybody that listens to All Sports through Met Radio here on mymetmedia.com. Subscribe or like my pages on social media at All Sports with Gerardo. Until next time, this is Gerardo.